Aisha traced the outline of the architectural drawing with a calloused fingertip. This wasn't just a design, it was her future, etched in precise lines and calculated angles. The Harmony Tower, a mixed-use marvel that would redefine the city skyline and, more importantly, solidify her reputation. Aisha had always been a planner. From meticulously organized color-coded notebooks in elementary school to strategically selecting her university courses, her life had been a carefully constructed blueprint for success. She aced her exams, secured prestigious internships, and landed her dream job at Sterling and Wright, a renowned architectural firm, right after graduation. Her parents, immigrants who had sacrificed everything for her education, beamed with pride. "You are our star, Aisha," her mother would say, her voice thick with emotion. "You make all our struggles worthwhile." This weight of expectation, however, was something Aisha carried silently, fueling her drive and masking a layer of deep-seated anxiety. For 10 years, Aisha had climbed the corporate ladder, putting in grueling hours, attending networking events, and always exceeding expectations. She volunteered for the most challenging projects, navigated office politics with a shrewdness that surprised even herself, and consistently delivered results. Now, at 32, she was on the cusp of achieving her ultimate goal, leading the Harmony Tower project. Her boss, Mr. Sterling, a stern but fair man, patted her shoulder. "Aisha, you've earned this. The board has confidence in you. Don't let us down." Aisha nodded, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and terror. This was it, the culmination of everything she had worked for. She had followed every rule, ticked every box, and played the game perfectly. Failure was not an option. That evening, she stayed late in the office, meticulously reviewing the project proposal. The financial projections were sound, the environmental impact assessment was positive, and the design was innovative yet practical. Everything was, on paper, perfect. But a nagging doubt lingered at the back of her mind, a whisper she tried to ignore. It was the fear that even perfect execution couldn't guarantee success. A fear she had kept buried beneath layers of ambition and planning. The rising tide. The initial months of the Harmony Tower project were a whirlwind of activity. Aisha assembled a team of the best engineers, designers, and contractors. She held regular meetings, meticulously monitoring progress and addressing any potential issues with swift and decisive action. She was a demanding leader, but fair, earning the respect of her team. The construction site became her second home. She knew the name of every worker, understood the complexities of every phase of the project, and anticipated problems before they arose. Her dedication was relentless, bordering on obsessive. Sleep became a luxury, meals were often skipped, and her social life dwindled to nothing. Her personal life suffered. Her long-term boyfriend, David, a kind and supportive artist, grew increasingly frustrated with her absence. "Aisha, I miss you," he would say, his voice laced with sadness. "This project is consuming you. You're not the same person anymore." Aisha brushed off his concerns. "This is important, David. This is my chance. I'll make it up to you later." But later never seemed to arrive. The demands of the project were relentless, and her focus was solely on its success. The Harmony Tower began to rise. a steel and glass testament to Aisha's hard work and dedication. The media hailed it as an architectural masterpiece, and Aisha became a rising star in the industry. She was invited to speak at conferences, featured in magazines, and received numerous accolades. She had achieved everything she had set out to do. Or so it seemed. Beneath the veneer of success, cracks began to appear. The pressure was immense, the stress relentless. Aisha found herself increasingly irritable, snapping at her team and pushing herself to the breaking point. She started experiencing panic attacks, waking up in the middle of the night, her heart racing and her breath shallow. She confided in no one, fearing that admitting weakness would jeopardize her position. She continued to push forward, masking her anxiety with a forced smile and an unwavering determination. She was so close to the finish line, she couldn't afford to falter now. The gathering storm. The global economy took a sudden and unexpected downturn. The real estate market faltered and investment dried up. Suddenly, the Harmony Tower project, once a symbol of prosperity, became a liability. "But yours?" The sterling called Aisha into his office. His face was grave. "Aisha, I have some bad news. Our primary investor has pulled out. They're citing economic uncertainty." Aisha felt the blood drain from her face. But we have other investors. We can find a replacement." Mr. Sterling shook his head. "It's not that simple, Aisha. The market is volatile. No one wants to take the risk right now." Aisha refused to accept defeat. She spent days on the phone, pitching the project to potential investors, pleading her case, and pulling every string she could. But the answer was always the same: too risky. The construction came to a standstill, the skeletal frame of the Harmony Tower a stark reminder of Aisha's impending failure. The media, once her biggest supporters, turned against her, questioning her competence and criticizing her judgment. David, seeing her distress, tried to offer comfort. "Aisha, it's okay. It's just a project. It doesn't define you." But Aisha couldn't hear him. Her world was collapsing around her, and she felt like she was drowning. "No, you don't understand," she sobbed. "This is everything I've worked for. I did everything right. I followed all the rules. How could this happen?" David held her close, but he couldn't reach her. Aisha was lost in a sea of disappointment and self-blame. The debut. The inevitable happened. Sterling and Wright announced that the Harmony Tower project was being suspended indefinitely. Aisha was removed from her position, reassigned to a minor, less visible project. The shame and humiliation were unbearable. She felt like a failure, not just professionally, but personally. She had sacrificed everything for her career, and now she had nothing to show for it. Her parents, who had always been so proud of her, were devastated. "What happened, Aisha?" her mother asked, her voice filled with disappointment. "We thought you were invincible." Aisha couldn't answer. She had let them down too. David, unable to watch her self-destruct, made a difficult decision. "Aisha, I can't do this anymore," he said, his eyes filled with pain. "I love you, but you're not present. You're so focused on your career that you've forgotten how to live." He left, leaving Aisha alone in her apartment, surrounded by the wreckage of her shattered dreams. She had lost her job, her reputation, and her relationship. She had done everything right, and yet she had failed spectacularly. She spent weeks in a state of despair, unable to eat, sleep, or even get out of bed. She questioned everything she had ever believed in, wondering if her carefully constructed life had been a lie all along. One rainy afternoon, she sat by the window, staring at the unfinished Harmony Tower. It looked like a broken promise, a monument to her failure. And then, slowly, she began to realize something, a clearing. Aisha started attending therapy. It was difficult at first, admitting her vulnerabilities and confronting her deepest fears. But slowly she began to understand the flaws in her carefully constructed blueprint. She had equated success with external validation, neglecting her own well-being and sacrificing her personal life. She had been so focused on achieving her goals that she had forgotten what truly mattered: her relationships, her health, and her own happiness. She realized that doing everything right didn't guarantee success because life was unpredictable, as circumstances could change in an instant. But more importantly, she realized that failure wasn't the end of the world. It was an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to redefine her definition of success. She started taking care of herself, exercising, eating healthy, and spending time with friends and family. She rediscovered her passion for art, enrolling in a pottery class and finding solace in the creative process. She also started volunteering at a local community center, helping underprivileged children with their homework. She found that giving back to others gave her a sense of purpose that she had been missing in her professional life. One day, she received a call from a former colleague at Sterling and Wright. "Aisha, we have a new project. It's a challenging one, but we think you're the right person for the job. Are you interested?" Aisha hesitated. She was still scarred by her previous experience, but she knew that she couldn't let fear hold her back. "Yes," she said, her voice filled with newfound confidence. "I'm interested." A new foundation. Aisha approached the new project with a different mindset. She was still ambitious and driven, but she no longer equated her worth with her professional achievements. She prioritized her well-being, set boundaries, and delegated tasks effectively. She also learned to embrace failure as a learning opportunity. When things went wrong, she didn't panic or blame herself. She analyzed the situation, identified the root cause, and implemented corrective measures. The project was a success, but more importantly, Aisha had found a new sense of balance and fulfillment in her life. She had learned that true success wasn't about achieving goals, but about living a meaningful and authentic life. She also rekindled her relationship with David. He had seen her at her worst, and he had given her the space she needed to heal and grow. They started dating again, slowly and carefully, rebuilding their relationship on a foundation of honesty and mutual respect. One evening, as they strolled through the park, David pointed to the Harmony Tower. "It's still unfinished," he said, "but it's a reminder of how far you've come." Aisha smiled. "It's also a reminder that success isn't always about reaching the top. Sometimes it's about learning to navigate the cracks in the foundation." Aisha never forgot the lessons she learned from the Harmony Tower debacle. She continued to excel in her career, but she never again allowed it to consume her. She had found a new definition of success, one that was based on her own values and priorities, not on the expectations of others. Moral of the story. The story of Aisha highlights that life doesn't always reward meticulous planning and unwavering dedication with guaranteed success. Sometimes external factors and unforeseen circumstances can derail even the most well-laid plans. True success isn't solely about achieving goals or accumulating accolades. It's about resilience in the face of adversity, the ability to learn from failure, the importance of prioritizing personal well-being, and the value of nurturing meaningful relationships. It is important to remember that personal definition of success is most important, not the one society imposes on you. Ultimately, the most rewarding journey is one that balances ambition with authenticity and striving for success with living a fulfilling life. Confidence.